Hello everybody, welcome back to the Garrett 426 channel. Today we're going to go ahead and finish fixing the front end of my Dodge Dakota because I found a lot of broken parts. So what we're going to go be replacing today is the driver's side wheel bearing. It went out, I know why, this truck was in an accident. I have two brand new Moog, that's another thing, I'm going with all Moog, except for the shocks. But I got brand new Moog sway bar end links, pretty nice. And I got some KYB shocks because that shock fell completely apart. That shock is just barely working. Gonna go replace those. I wanted to get some Bilsteins or some Beltex, but I didn't really feel like waiting a month and paying like $80 per shock. So I got these because I could get them right away, and they were something like $26 per, maybe $30 per. Not too bad. They have pretty good reviews on them. The only thing is, apparently I need to reuse the top mounts on the old shocks because these ones are too small. And I did look at them, they are kind of small, but we'll see what happens. So do the usual thing, jack the truck up, take the tires off, etc. If you guys haven't checked out the video where I replaced all of the bushings in this Dodge Dakota with polyurethane bushings from Energy Suspension, go ahead and check that out above. Also, if you haven't seen the last video where I went and I took the Diesel Beetle and made some custom door panels for it, go ahead and check that out above too. And please go ahead and like and subscribe this video. I should probably start saying this stuff now in the beginning of the video instead of in the end like I have been, because I know nobody watches till the end. Yeah, that's worn out. I went in here and cleaned up a little bit, just make it not as nasty, even though I probably need to just get in here and pressure wash everything. But let's go ahead and take our shocks out. It's going to be a 14 millimeter up here. And this is something that the manufacturer would recommend, but makes your life a lot easier. Get yourself a pair of channel locks, go up underneath here, freaking, you know, just grab the hell out of the, I guess, shock shaft or something. I don't know what to call it. Grab the hell out of it, put your impact on this and spin it off. I know you're not supposed to do that. We're not going to do that on the new ones, obviously. That'll just destroy the new ones, and that's a bad idea. But these are old, and they're getting thrown away, so does it really matter? I don't think so. Now we should be able to send it. Boom. Now, I will be using an impact to go ahead and take these out. I will not be using an impact to put them in. I mean, to send them most of the way, sure, but to put them in, no, because I don't want to accidentally break them. I imagine I could probably just use only the rubber and leave the washer, but that's one shock that's out. And this is one that, if you look, it'll just collapse. Oh, now this one's actually kind of working. Well, this shock's really weird because in the last video, as you guys saw, it wasn't working. Now it is working. I mean, it's still dry rotted on the top, and we're still replacing it because the KYBs are way better than whatever the hell that is. I think those are Monroes or Gabriels. I don't know. I know this truck came with stock Gabriels. Those are probably Monroes. All right, now, next one. Now, this is the one that actually came apart, and it'll probably just collapse. Yeah, see? Boom. Done. Finished. The back of my truck is so freaking trashy. I will be cleaning it. Here is our new shock. These look much better. It's a little bit of a different design. Kind of makes sense because it's a different brand. These are the old mounts that were up at the top. These are the new ones, and see what I mean? They're not near the size diameter wise, and I mean that only gives it like a 1/4 inch on top of the hole, and I was like, yeah, maybe it'll squish, but it won't squish like this. And there's nothing really wrong with these. Not reusing these though. Just gonna go ahead and use the ones that came with the KYB. It also came with 2 nuts. I don't really know why. I guess this one, you know, attaches it, and then you could use a jam nut. If we're looking at the directions that came with these, it says absolutely nothing about this second one. I'm not going to use it. Just going to use this one because the other ones only had one nut for years and there were never any issues. So I'm not using that jam nut. That's what I'm guessing it is. It is like half the size. Or maybe it's for clearance issues. I don't know. But let's go ahead and put this in with the old mounts. Also, another thing I want to say too is somebody did, you know, they left reviews on all this crap and whatnot, and they were like, yeah, these sucked. I want to try it, but like, that just, I don't know. I'm reusing the old ones because the old ones worked, and there were people that complained about actually using these, saying that they were too small, and then they started having suspension noise shortly after. So they've also decided to go ahead and reuse the old ones, and they've never had any issues that I can know of as far as an Amazon review goes. So we're just gonna go ahead and put these ones in because I don't really see what else to do. If you look down here, this is kind of angled a little bit. So just stick it in as such, make sure it goes through the hole. I'm gonna do the top mount first because this is gonna have to be pushed in and compressed in order to get that that little extra bit, and it's really hard to do that with one hand like I have been doing with this camera this whole time. So a trick that I've always done, you're supposed to get like a tiny wrench or an adjustable wrench to put on the top of the shock shaft. That's what we're calling it today. But what I've always found is a lot easier is to just take a pair of vice grips, clamp it on to the top where the channel locks are supposed to go, and then tighten everything down with your wrench. Just makes things a little bit easier. It appears that I have ran into an issue with the bushings that I had previously had are too small, so they've been compressed too much. I guess we are going to go ahead and use the ones that it came with. Alright, cool. Take it all back apart. Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe they just don't know what they're doing. I clearly don't know what I'm doing. I don't know. That doesn't seem to be that bad. Maybe those guys just don't know what they're talking about. I mean, why should you believe some guy on the internet? Okay, let's go ahead and do the other side. I don't really think there's any need for me to be talking during it though. Cool. The shocks are done. Now let's go ahead and switch to our sway bar end links. So on the sway bar end links, right here, it's going to be a 16 millimeter, and it should just hold itself. Just like that. Very simple. And because this is a sway bar and both are connected, I'm going to go ahead and break the one on the other side loose as well. See, this is the one that's destroyed. Well, now we can just go ahead and lift the sway bar up and out of the way. This one's not that bad, it's the other one that's really bad. Now, down here, we have another 16 millimeter. Now we might get lucky, we might just be able to pry the crap out of this and it will hold itself in place. But it has a lock nut, so I seriously doubt that. We got lucky, it actually held itself in place. Let's go ahead and try to do that on the other side. Pretty sure it's not supposed to do that. Had to get an extension for this side. Sweet. They held themselves in. Now we need to go ahead and get a hammer and smack them out. There we go. That's one. This one's a lot easier to get to on the back side. Probably because the brake line's not in the way. Now we can go ahead and get our new ones. So we have our Moog sway bar end link right here. It's greasable, which is really cool. I did go ahead and get a grease gun so that we could make sure that we get that done. These are really simple. I mean, it's going to be, this is so fun doing it one-handed. Stand it up just a little bit. There we go. It's going to be washer, then it's going to be this guy. Make sure this big end with the holes is facing down, just like that. And then we'll put it in place so that this guy will go on this way. Washer, and then nut. That's just way easier than having to go out and get like an Allen key for it and then a wrench. And yeah, it's not necessarily the right way. Now let's go ahead and do the other side because these have to go in together at the same time. That one is now in as well. Now we could go ahead and drop our sway bar down. And I'm getting these nice new white bushings, all dirty. Good thing nobody could see them. So Moog has changed everything around. It is now a 15 millimeter instead of a 16 millimeter like it was before. And I am going to send this down with the impact, but this joint right here is not designed to move in that way. So take a 15 millimeter wrench, has a spot for it right there. I'm trying to make sure that I'm out of the camera view. There we go. That's better. Make sure that the joint is nice and straight with the control arm. And then give it. Perfect, just like that. Now, let's go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. All right, now before we go ahead and move on to this wheel bearing right here, which won't be that hard to do, let's go ahead and grease everything up with my new grease gun. So this is the new grease gun that I have. It's just a tiny 3-ounce one. I don't need one of the big ones because I don't grease everything that often, and I'm not dealing with multiple vehicles all the time. This is like a once in a month tops. Actually, probably like once every 6 months I would grease fittings. So now I'm gonna go ahead and grease all the old ones and the new ones. Now I'm gonna go ahead and clean all those up. Don't need to do that on camera. And then I will start taking apart this guy. Okay, so in order to get this wheel bearing off, which is gonna be a pain in the butt, I need to go ahead and take the caliper off and the rotor off first. Thankfully, it's really easy on this vehicle. So, need to go ahead, take a screwdriver right here, pry this clip off. I have done with these clips so many times that it is that easy. All right, now we gotta go to the back side to take off these two slide bolts. It is gonna be a T45 to get them off. Now, something to keep in mind, whenever you go to put these back on, it is very easy to pull the threads on these. So don't overdo them. Literally, I think it's like 10 or 15 foot-pounds. I'll put on the screen what it's supposed to be. It doesn't take much force. These are just there to hold the caliper in place. All of the braking power and force is going on these giant tabs right here. I have this piece of Romex to go ahead and hold the caliper up because I'm gonna need something to hold it. A coat hanger is also great for this too. I've used many different items to make this work, but the whole point is you do not want it hanging on the brake line. All right, and now rotor comes off just like that. Now we can start actually working on the bearing itself. It's a 35 millimeter, at least that's what fits right here. Now, get ready for this, and it's raining, so I have to make this quick. This thing is underneath a lot of torque. It's 180 foot-pounds of torque. So we got out the big guy, and we're just gonna send it. Clean this guy off. I really need to get into this truck with a pressure washer. I'm gonna go get a Scotch-Brite pad. Yeah, there does not need to be anything on this spindle at all. It needs to be completely clean. Nothing should be on it. No grease, anything, like literally anything. Now we are ready for the new wheel bearing. Here is our new wheel bearing hub and everything. Something to keep in mind, you wanna go with Moog, they'll send you the new nut. It even says on this nut, do not reuse. So this guy just slides right on. Might have to give it a couple taps to get it on. There it goes. Oh yeah, that's way better. Doesn't move at all now. All right, now I'm gonna go get my torque wrench because this has to be torqued down to, like I said, 180 foot-pounds of torque. And for all of you Newton meter guys out there, that is 251 Newton meters. Trying to beat the rain sucks right now. 1 click, 2 click, 3 clicks. Let's go ahead and put it all back together, put the tire back on, and then re-torque it with the tire on. Doing this while it's sprinkling sucks. Now remember, these slide bolts on this caliper, do not overdo them. You will strip them. Thankfully, there's actually a caliper bolt that you can buy, because this happens so often, that will cut new threads and it'll be all like, it'll be a fix. I actually had to do it on the other knuckle. Okay, so the rain's coming down pretty hard right now. Just believe that I retorqued everything and everything went back together, and I already took the truck off. So that's how you gotta replace the sway bar end links, the shocks, and a wheel bearing on a 2001 Dodge Dakota 2-wheel drive. So hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you did, please go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Go ahead and let me know how much I suck at doing this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.